We count. How you buy your car doesn't matter, right? Unless you have to spend all day at the dealer.
what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Big Dog Brett. Thanks so much for tuning in. We've got quite the show for you tonight. Spent a good bit of time here getting everything stacked up, so we can kind of jump into covering everything I know you guys want to talk about. So let me go ahead and pop this chat out real quick. Boom. Now I can see who I'm talking to. All right. So how's everybody doing tonight, man? How's everybody doing? There we go. There we go. Woo. Yeah, sorry we had a little bit of Micah love. Let's see who we got in the channel so far. Let's see. Obviously, we got Mr. Keith Carr, the one, the only, and the greatest. We got Dwayne RTR, Mark Dudley, Glenn Hartley, David Johnson, Jesse Stacy, Iceberg Players, Tiger Ravens here as usual, Jesse Stacy, Coach O. Oh, how you going to do this weekend, Coach O? Got some questions for you, sir. Lloyd Dawg is in here. I don't know if I said David Johnson or not. It's BLST is here. Carson Hollis is in here. And, of course, my man, Dwayne RTR. So, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. There's Nicholas Thompson. Haven't seen you, didn't see your name before. Maybe you just popped in, guys. So, Iceberg Player says, when I first saw your channel when we lost to LSU last year. Wow, man, you've been around for a minute, dude. First off, I'm going to make another video probably later this week. First of all, I want to say thank you guys so much. The channel's been up and running for about 2 years now, and we just hit 2,000 subscribers. So I can't tell you guys how much I really appreciate that. I think the goal at the beginning of the season was to get to 1,500 before the season started. We're now at week 11, and we're at 2,000, about 2,050. And I just can't tell you guys how much I really appreciate the support. It's been awesome. So to know there are so many people out there that enjoy college football as much as I do, and they're willing to spend their time with me, it's very flattering, and I just can't say thank you enough. So also want to do a shout out to the other YouTube content creators that have had a hand in helping me along. I really appreciate it. The encouragement I've received from you guys has been wonderful. It's one of those things that makes me want to do more stuff like this to my channel to make it look better. And it's for you guys. I really appreciate it so much. Hey, what's up, Freddie GTV? I'm taking advantage that you can see my messages right now because it's not too long. You will have way more subscribers. I do appreciate it. I hope that's the case. But it's nice to be able to get in here and and conversate with you guys. It's taught me so much more about college football than I thought I would ever learn. Learn so much more than I thought I'd ever knew. Now, before we get too much further, I want to show off my shirt. Iceberg Player says, I remember when you had around 300 people at your halftime live stream versus Kentucky. Yeah, that was awesome. I want to show off my shirt. My son got me this shirt. I've been waiting for the right time to wear it. I think now is the right time to wear it. After hitting 2,000 subscribers. You ready? Yeah. So, man, it's this is one of my favorite shirts. I'm gonna wear this thing all the time now. It's just great. It's comfortable. It's fitting. Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Dwayne says BDB's the GOAT. Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Rocking the dad bod. That's what I do. Because not all of us can be supermodels, and there's always trolls in the comment section talking about, "Hey man, you're fat." Like, golly, dude. You know how many times I've heard that. Listen, I may have 2,000 subscribers, and I'm grateful for every one of them. But hey, welcome to the channel, Peach Stay Pride. Glad to have you here. Feel free to talk amongst the other people we have in here. OG Francis, throwback mustache. It's tough not being a supermodel. It's really hard not being a supermodel. I have to enjoy all this wonderful food that my wife cooks. It's really, really tough, but I do it for you guys because I know how much it means to you. What's going on, JT Thompson? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So, obviously later tonight, you guys know I'm going to go out and throw a plug out for Uncle Lou. He does a 10 o'clock show on Wednesday nights, I believe. If you guys get an opportunity to go check his stuff out, it's awesome. Glenn Hartley says, we all fat. That's right. That's right. I am. All right. So the whole welcome Pete Stay Pride. There's Keith. Thanks, buddy. So one of the things I want to jump into, obviously you guys can see I've changed some of the stuff I've got in here. I got rid of the top 10 list. Bearded Dog, what's up, buddy? Bearded Dog, we got to get together and do lunch, man. We got to do that. I think that'd be fun. So you guys can see I've replaced the top 10 video, or the top 10 banner I had up for the college football playoff. Obviously, it just came out Tuesday. I wanted to get some of you guys. I want to get some of you guys' opinion, what you think, where we're at. Me personally, I'm not upset at this. Looking at what's here, I'm really not mad about it. The college football playoff probably could have pushed Georgia out if they had wanted to, but to be the only one-loss team in the college football playoff pick here is kind of impressive if you really think about it. There's people that argue that Georgia should be ranked higher. There's people that would probably argue UGA should be ranked lower, and I can understand both of those arguments. So I'm really not upset about being ranked number 6 right now. The good thing is that both the number 1 and number 4 spot and number 2 and number 3 spot have to play each other. When that happens, it's highly likely that one of those two, if not both of those, are going to be knocked out. When that happens, if Georgia continues to play the way it's playing, it's I think it's likely that that Georgia's going to be moved into the number 4 spot. And of course, we've got a few more games to play in between now and the end of the season, so it's going to play out on its own. Keith says, I'm good with all of that. I think LSU should have been 1 and OSU 2. I can see that, but I think that's going to weed itself out. And I think we kind of saw this last year. There was a little bit of controversy when the College Football Playoff Committee's picks first came out. They were a little they were a little at first, but if you look at it, it's really going to weed itself out. So I'm not putting too much thought into this particular one. Obviously, it's going to change next week. No matter what happens at this point, if you want to be in the top 4, you've got to win out. With the exception of if LSU ends up at number 1 and Georgia ends up beating them in the SEC championship, I could see them maybe knocking LSU to number 4, depending on what happens. So we'll see. Thought Georgia at 5. It may be at 5, but this is what I could find, man. If you eat breakfast with Big Dog, I would be fat. Hey, man, I love cooking breakfast for the wife, man, and the kids on Saturday. And ain't nothing but a tree to climb. That's right. Penn State's got to play, I believe, Montana this coming up weekend, so that'll be interesting. I think Montana's actually undefeated or 1 loss, which I think is the first time that's happened for them since the 90s. So who do I think is going to win and why? I'll get into that here in just a little bit. I've actually got some of the stats and other stuff pulled up. Would be higher, be better, or worse? I think being higher at this point is actually irrelevant, whether we're higher or lower. The fact that we've lost 1 game to South Carolina, and believe it or not, most national championship teams have lost a game somewhere in the season. So it's not even uncommon. It's really not. And if you guys look back this time last year, I can't remember if Georgia was ranked number 1 or whatever, but we were in the college football playoff talk. We've actually been in it all 3 years. So that's something not a lot of programs can say. And to me, it's really flattering. Excuse me. I won't say flattering. It's nice to know that the College Football Playoff Committee takes Georgia seriously, even if some people and some teams in the country don't. If you look at this College Football Playoff bracket, Georgia, Alabama, and Clemson are returners from last year. I can't remember if OSU was in it. I know Oklahoma was. I know LSU was not, and Penn State certainly wasn't. So seeing these guys return back to a year, Minnesota. Yeah, that's what I meant, Minnesota. You guys know I'm not perfect on that sort of stuff. I don't care about the rankings as long as Clemson wins out. We're still in the playoff hunt. If Clemson wins out, I don't think there's anybody that could rightfully say they don't deserve to be there. Granted, they've played a weak schedule, but they've won every game. As a returning national championship, I think that holds some weight. I just do. Let's see. Yeah. To me, it's there's some crazy scenarios people have put together, and it's pretty interesting the way some of it could have been. My wife just sent me something. What did she just send me? Hold on. Somebody drag racing or something. Hold on. Got to check on what the wife's doing here. What is going on? Oh, this dude's blocking traffic. Would love to see a UGA OSU matchup. Not me. Not me. I don't want to see that until it's time to see that. Oh, somebody dinged him with a road cone. I think it would be really interesting to see Georgia play OSU for the national championship and win. I do. But it would generate a lot of money. So, all right, guys. One of the things here, let's look at the top 25 and kind of get you guys' opinions. So obviously Ohio State number 2, LSU. We know Georgia's sitting at 6, and then you've got Oregon, Utah, Oklahoma, and Florida. I would be hard pressed. Just my opinion. I would be hard pressed to put Oregon ahead of Oklahoma. I really don't think it should be that way. I feel like Oklahoma's a much better team. I feel like Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback. I feel like their defense is probably equal, but I feel like the offense for OU is better, especially after watching how they've played half of the season. LSU lose to Bama, UGA beat Bama, Penn State lose to Michigan, and beat OSU. Yep, I've seen that one before too. Then you've got Wisconsin, which is barely above Michigan, but below Baylor and Auburn and Florida. Golly, guys, I really want to say I think Wisconsin's probably better than Baylor. Minnesota's sitting at 17, Iowa, and Wake Forest, man, snuck in there. Then you've got Cincinnati, Memphis, and Boise State. I remember early in the season I was ragging on. I forget what team I was ragging on, but I was ragging on some team because Boise State had played them close, or Boise State had beat them or something. Here Boise State is in the top 25. And there's Navy closing off the 24 set, man. Oh, man. MCD Sports 4 says you didn't know Big Dog did this as well. What do you mean, a live stream? I've just really started getting, if that's what you're talking about, I just started getting consistent with it here recently. Just kind of polishing up this part of the channel. Let me adjust my camera just a little bit. Polishing up this part of the channel. What's up, Colby? I've kind of wanted to make things look better, so, I've added some transitions and I've done a few other things to kind of make it look a little nicer, a little better. So if you guys want to call in, the way it works on the Big Dog channel here is you call in 770-765-2428. Now that's going to ring my phone, but if it rings my phone and I have to hold the phone up, speakerphone and all this stuff, and it's kind of a pain in the neck. So what I end up doing is I call you back from a restricted number, and then whenever we carry on our conversation, that conversation is going to be over the air through the phone, and hopefully everybody else can hear it. So we're going to end up in the top 4 after LSU and Bama play, and then Penn State. So let me jump over to where is it at? Where's it at? There it is. Okay. So let's kind of jump into some of the numbers. The first thing I want to do is talk about Alabama. I want to talk about their schedule. A lot of people don't really jump into this stuff, so LSU can't run the ball. LSU can't run the ball. Who said that? Nate Rogers? Hang on, man. Let's see. That's one of the reasons I do this, is because I want people to kind of understand how these teams match up. So LSU so far has played. Texas was ranked number 9. Florida was ranked number 7, and Auburn was ranked number 9. So when you look at those wins that they played, Texas scored 38 points. Florida scored 28 points, and Auburn scored 20. LSU, in my opinion, only winning by 3 points, not necessarily a dominant win. Now, Auburn's a pretty good team, but I just think that by the time if they're number 1 in the nation, they should have done a much better job than that. They did a pretty good job against Mississippi State, 36-13. They've had only 2 teams this year score more than 28 points. And Florida was one of the teams that scored 28 points. Texas scored 38. Vanderbilt, I don't know what happened in that game. It was kind of a fall-apart game. They got into a shootout, so to speak. Video's frozen. Let me check on that, man. No, video's good on my end, dude. I don't know what happened. But looking at just what I've seen so far, they definitely have a high-powered offense, but so does Alabama. I mean, I'd have to argue that Alabama's defense is better. Texas A&M was the only team. Texas A&M and Ole Miss scored 28 and 31 points respectively. South Carolina 23, Tennessee 13, New Mexico State 10, Duke 3, Arkansas 7. And people are going to say, who have they played? Appreciate the super chat there, Mad Dog. Dan Mullen is still crying in his maxi pad pillow. I almost bet that he is. That guy is terrible. I don't know what's going on with him, man. But Dan Mullen is a guy who really, in my opinion, doesn't deserve to be coaching an SEC team, even the Gators. The guy showed no class. The first thing you should do when you lose a football game, especially if you didn't play the way that you wanted to play, you should come out and congratulate that other team. You should say hats off. They did a tremendous job. They beat us where they beat us. You know, I just think that gets you so much more respect. Just so much more respect. But, of course, Dan Mullen doesn't care about respects and is not going to win any SEC championships, so nothing to worry about there. LSU got a better secondary and our linebackers are better easily. Mad Dog says he's a Florida man. He may be, but they can keep him. Straight up said their third down defense was good. I don't. Yeah, he was punch drunk. Yeah, I remember watching that. He said their third down defense was good. I think it was like 13 for 18, and they counted the last third down that we were on as against us because we didn't convert it because it ended the game. So it was really like 13-17. What a ridiculous number to put up against anybody. If Myers went back to coach Florida, I bet they'd take him too. Jordan Reaction says LSU can run the ball. LSU only gives up 97 rush yards a game, and that's better than Bama, and we've played better teams. Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. Okay, so I kind of figured that this was going to happen. I knew you guys were going to kind of get into it. So let's actually talk about the numbers of it, just so everybody, because not everybody's a stat junkie like I am, and I get stats wrong all the time. So I'm not perfect at it. But so one of the things you look at is that Tua has put up 2,100 yards in passing, and Joe Burrows has put up 2,800. Joe Burrows is playing out of his mind. Now, I don't know what happened or what changed at LSU, but they did a great job. Great job getting this guy to kind of turn the corner. Joe Burrow's completion percentage is 78.8%. That's incredible. Well, then you turn around and you look at Tua, and Tua is at 74.7, and his younger brother, I think it's his younger brother, is 77.8. Both of these kids can throw. Now, you got Mac Jones in here. So here's the thing, right? So Tua hasn't played. So you have to add, in my opinion, I think it's only fair if the numbers are comparable to add Mac Jones' numbers to Tua to kind of get a feel for where Tua would be. Because Mac Jones is completing at 70%, and he throwed up almost 500 yards. So that would put Tua Tagovailoa somewhere around 2,700 yards and Joe Burrows at 28. I mean, it just is what it is. If you look at rushing yards, the leading rusher is C. Edwards-Helaire. He's at 683. Najee Harris, 642. I mean, you're talking 40 yards difference there. Receiving yards, Justin Jefferson for LSU is at 819, and then you've got Devontae Smith at 721. So the total rushing yards, the total receiving yards for Alabama is 2,700, and the total receiving yards for LSU is 3,000. Rushing yards for LSU is 1,200, and the rushing yards for Alabama is almost 1,350. So I mean, it's incredibly close if you look purely at a statistic standpoint. The big difference to me is, and it's really not that big of a difference, is that there is the sack yardage loss for LSU is almost 100, and the sack yardage for Alabama is only 50. So Joe Brady happened. I believe it, dude. I mean, Joe Burrows has thrown 4 picks. Tua has thrown 2, and that's really the only difference. But I think that can be a big enough difference in a game like this. If you get one turnover in a game of this caliber, it can be a backbreaker. It can absolutely make or break a game. I mean, look at what happened to Georgia. So now somebody is going to ask me, and people have already been asking me, who I think is going to win this game. Realistically, personally, I feel like Alabama's going to win this game. Now, I'm not saying that because I want Alabama to win. I mean, I do want to play Alabama again and beat them. But I just think that Alabama's defense is a little bit better than LSU's defense. LSU's defense has allowed in the past 2 games only 23 points. Alabama's only allowed 20. So in the game before that, both of them allowed 28 points. In the game before that, Alabama allowed 31, where LSU only allowed 6. But then the next game before that, which was Vanderbilt and LSU, it was 38, and Alabama was 7. I see higher numbers on an average for LSU than I do for Alabama, and I think in a game of the caliber of this size that you're going to see that Alabama defense is going to be just good enough to stop them. I don't mean to let you down, Coach O. Now, that having been said, I don't honestly feel like it's going to be a runaway. I really don't. I feel like the game is going to be – I think it's going to come down to a Bama defense will not allow Vandy to get 38 points. There's been some times this year where it's been back and forth between both teams. What I will say is that I think there's a better chance that LSU would give up 38 points before before Alabama would. And I think a big part of that has to do with playing on a big stage, which I think this is the biggest stage they're going to play on in the East. Anybody's going to play on the East this year. LSU did not allow 38 points to Vanderbilt. It's 33 then? Let me double check that. LSU did allow 38 points, sir. The defense, Vanderbilt only scored 24 points on our defense, not 38. So you guys gave up 2 pick-6. That's almost a stat I wouldn't claim. 35-31 Bama. I would be more likely to say that's probably a pretty close bet, Stephen. 28-35, 35-31, somewhere in there. How's it going, T Mills? So, well, I'm looking at the stat on ESPN. Unless ESPN's got it wrong, LSU Tigers at Vanderbilt, 66-38. So, unless there were some pick sixes in that game, I don't know, dude. But either way, if Vanderbilt was able to pick you off twice, I'm going to bet for sure that Alabama's going to be able to get it at least once. Anyway, sorry for the crunch noise. Um, Special teams. The thing of the matter is that at the end of the day, Alabama's played on some big stages. They're going to be very comfortable. This game is in Tuscaloosa. I think that makes a big difference. This game is going to decide a whole bunch of things, so the fan base for Alabama is actually going to show up. I think if this game was played in LSU at night, I would lean more towards LSU. I would probably pick them to win this game. But it being an evening or afternoon game in Tuscaloosa, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be tough. No pick six special teams. Yeah, but no matter which way you slice it, man, that's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. Let me jump over here real quick. All right, so now there is so everyone is forgetting about Utah. Is Utah still undefeated? I think they are. So let's do this. I want to actually do a. I want to try this out. I don't know how well it's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to play some stuff from Kirby Smart, and I'm going to kind of go over it, see what you guys think. So hold on. Let me get the chat up inside of this screen over here. There that is. All right, here we go. Let's give it a shot. Oh, is it going to work?
Coach, can you talk about Jake's comfortability with Adrian? It just seems like when he's out, it's like they have a relationship, and that kind of feeds into the other receivers. It just seems like they kind of get more comfortable when he's out there.
Yeah, I'd say he's comfortable with him. He's comfortable with some of our other wideouts. I mean, some of those plays Cager got were just they weren't featured Cager plays. He was the second, third, fourth option on some of them. Some of them he may be primary. Some of them he's primary based on coverage. Some of them he's not. But some of them Jake had time to work to him to make the decision on who to throw it to. So I don't think it was a scheme deal. Some of them he was just the best option. He was the open option in the zone. But Jake's comfortable with all our guys. I think he's got a good rapport with all the receivers.
Kirby, you mentioned several times this year that the run game in the SEC is more of a cumulative effect. You don't come in and move guys off the ball right away. With where you're at in the schedule and with the gauntlet you've got coming up, does that take on maybe a little bit more of an extra importance to kind of stick with that run game and wear teams down?
Well, I don't think you ever just stick with something to bang your head against the wall. I mean, if you're not successful doing it, you can't abandon it totally, but you got to do what works, and you got to have enough change-ups to keep them honest, and I think we always try to do that. I mean, of all the games, that was probably the toughest game throughout.
All right. I'm guessing that might have been lagging too much. So I'm just going to let that go for now. Tell me if that got any better, guys. It was an idea that I had, but I don't know whether it worked out the way I wanted it to. So, you guys still there? All right, guys. Huh. Looks like I was having some, even on my end, it was lagging a little bit. I'm not sure what happened there, but hopefully we got it fixed. Stream health looks to be better now. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you got a squirrel cage in the back that's running your internet, man. Sorry, guys. All right, so one of the other things I wanted to talk about here was I wanted to go over the score for this game. I think the score for Alabama LSU is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 35-31. I mean, I can see it being 35-28. I think it's going to be a turnover margin. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like we've seen in previous years. But I honestly can see this game coming down to a turnover. And it may go so much as 38-31. But I think breaking that 30-point margin is going to be really tough for LSU. I think if LSU breaks 40 points, they win. But I don't really see that happening. So hopefully that won't be too hard on everybody. All right, so Tua's good to go till the first tackle. That's cold-blooded, man. That is cold-blooded. Good to the first tackle. 38-24 LSU. No Tua. Well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I think that Alabama's receivers are good enough that Mac will be able to move the ball really well. I don't know if LSU's pass rush is good enough to get to him. That being the case, I think that you could pretty much put anybody in at quarterback that was able to hit a pass for LSU, and they're going to continue to go down the field. So, yeah, I just think that's the way it's going to go. Penn State loses to Minnesota 24-31. Wow. Radiant Noah says Bama wins 45-35. I'm going to go with Bama, but I don't think the score is going to be that high. If they do, I'll be surprised. All right, so now let's talk about the Georgia-Missouri game. This game is Georgia has dominated and owned Missouri. The series is 7-1 since they entered the SEC, which I think that's their all-time record anyway. I mean, they've only beat us once. Barry Odom has no answer for UGA or Kirby Smart. Barry Odom's 0-3 against UGA. He just doesn't have a prayer. He does not have a way to beat UGA. Now, before people start jumping down in the comment section talking about how UGA lost to South Carolina, the reason UGA lost to South Carolina is pretty clear. We had 4 turnovers in one game, and we missed 2 field goals by a state-of-the-art kicker. Radiant Noah said 115-0. That would be impressive because I think it would be the largest margin besides the it'd be the largest margin besides the 75-0 score that we hung on Florida many years ago. Coach O, you just saying that because I picked Bama, dude. Kelly Bryant is a generational talent. The guy really can throw, but let's get into it a little bit. So, Missouri's team, this is who they play. They took a loss at Wyoming, 37-31. Then they beat West Virginia 38-7. They beat SEMO 50-0. They beat South Carolina 34-14. They beat Troy 42-10. They beat Ole Miss 38-12, and then they lost to Vanderbilt, and they lost to Kentucky. They made a change somewhere around when they played Ole Miss, and man, the defense. I mean, the offense just fell apart. I don't know what happened to their offense. You only scored 14 points against Vandy. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. That's terrible. You know, then they scored 29 points, they only scored 7 points against Kentucky. That's also terrible. So they're coming off of 2 really demoralizing losses. You look up, you got Georgia on your schedule. The week after that, you've got Florida. You're 5-3. You're third in the SEC. You've already took 3 losses this season. Your season's over. They don't really have any reason to play. So Georgia's going to beat them up. Florida's going to beat them up, and then Tennessee's going to turn around and hopefully try to win against them. It's unacceptable for anybody to lose to Vandy except Arkansas and Tennessee. I would say not even Tennessee. Tennessee should beat them. Now, I'm not overlooking them, and the main reason I'm not is because of Kelly Bryant. However, it impresses me that Kelly Bryant is at Bryant's at 1,850 yards passing, 62% completion percentage. But are you ready for this? 5 interceptions this year. 5. He's been sacked 16 times. That's not a typo. He's been sacked 16 times. Who does this remind you of? It reminds you of a Kyle Trask with a worse offensive line. UGA lucky to get 6. 6 what? Field goals on, or 6 what? UGA lucky to get 6 points. Get out of here, Bryson. You know better than that, man. Sneaky against what? UGA's got one of the best defenses in the country. If not the best defense in the country. Sorry, I got dry eyes, guys. Looking at all these computer monitors, man. Mizzou beat Florida the last 2 years. That's because Missouri, for whatever reason, has Florida's number. Larry Roundtree, which is their top rusher, is 644 yards. DeAndre Swift have 200 more yards than him. Their top receiver is 307 yards. UGA's at 377. If you look at UGA's rushing yards versus Missouri's rushing yards, UGA has 300 more yards than they do. And when it comes to passing, UGA has more passing yards than they do. Or actually, they have 30 yards less. But if you take out the Kentucky game, which basically we had an entire game where we didn't even pass the ball, really, we would be ahead there as well. Our field goal kicker, Rodrigo Blankenship, he's what, 15 for 17. Their guy is 11 for 17. There's no competition here. There's nothing to worry about, really. I'm not saying don't worry about it, but I'm saying if you look at Georgia's schedule, nobody has scored more than 17 points against Georgia all year. Nobody, think about that. Nobody has scored more than 17 points against UGA all year. Now, if you look at Missouri has had games where the last 2 games they haven't scored over 14 in the past 2 games. Their combined total is 21. Just that alone. Now, they do have the times where if their offense is clicking, they put up some big points. But if Vanderbilt figured you out and Kentucky figured you out, Georgia's going to figure you out too. Yeah, it's a cakewalk. It's nice that it's not a noon game, and it's in Athens. So that's going to be huge for Georgia. The fan base is ignited right now, especially after seeing what Jake Fromm went down and did in Florida. You're probably going to see Georgia take some opportunities to throw the ball to get some more experience there with Lawrence Cager. T. Mills asked if they would put a 2-loss SEC team in the college football playoff. Yes, they would. Who has Georgia played, Dennis? Well, let me see. Georgia's played Notre Dame, who was ranked number 7, Florida, who was ranked number 6, and we're going to be playing Auburn, who's number 11. So, and it's possible that Auburn will be ranked inside of the top 10 when we play them, as long as they continue to win. And I think they only got a couple of please don't say Notre Shame. USC figured out UGA. Yeah, they did. They figured out UGA, and then UGA did the same thing that every smart college football team does, which is adjust, make changes to your offense, come back out there and win more games. Just is what it is. If you're not evolving in college football, you're not gonna succeed. Because they can look at the tape and they can see what you've done against everybody else. My man said FSU is on the schedule. Yeah, but Willie Taggart ain't with them, so. Bryson Kearney said, I appreciate the super chat, man. Big Dog, I need you to lay off the OG Rick James. That's the OG Rick James. Stickiest of the icky. Smoke with your old boy Rick James. So anyway. Oh, man. Am I related to Uncle Lou? No, sir, I'm not. I'm not related to Uncle Lou. And there's people in the stream that have known me all my life, and they will tell you that I've always been this way. This is not a show. This is who I am. I call it like I see it. I try to be honest. I try to have some class, and I try to call it like I see it. You know, and if I'm wrong, I'll come out here and say I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm sure going to tell you about that. This is what it is. Bo Picks. Oh, that's my little one up there hollering. Yeah, buddy. So UGA is for real. Just have problems with the conservative Kirby. UGA's offense is capable. So if you go back and you look at the games that we've played in the past, especially like last year or whenever we played in the college football playoffs, you can see that UGA's offense for the most part was not super prolific most of the times. In the bigger games, he plays very conservative to win those games, and the numbers typically stay low unless it starts to get out of hand, and then he's basically he says, let's throw hands, and they start throwing the ball down the field. Justin Beeman says, I'm better than Uncle Lou. I don't know about that. That guy's been doing this a long time. He certainly has an incredible work ethic. Bryson Kearney, appreciate the super chat, man. That's your second one tonight, man. I missed earlier. What did you think of the ranking? Here's lean him over here. Say hi. 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 Oh, up. Okay. Come here. There you are. No, you can't touch the keyboard tonight. Say hi. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, son, take him upstairs. He had to come down here. I live in North Georgia, Melissa May. Yeah, he went through it? Man, I got to get that trim back up. What did I think of the ranking? I'm okay with the ranking the way it is. I think that UGA is placed where they should be. The fact that we're the only undefeated team up there really says something. It makes us say that, makes college football committee take Georgia seriously. Is basically what they mean. That the college football playoff committee looked at the loss that Georgia took. Thanks, James. Thanks, Melissa. And they said, you know what, we can see that was a fluke. Georgia clearly has made adjustments. They recognize Georgia's defense, and they put us in the running, knowing that at least one, if not two, of the teams that's in the top four are going to get knocked out. So if Georgia wins out, it's highly likely that they'll be in the college football playoff again. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, UGA is continuing to recruit 5-star players. Our team is very young. We're not going to lose a whole lot of players this year. So when we come back, it's going to be incredible. Do we win out? You want that as a Georgia fan or as an objective bystander? As an objective bystander, I would probably say that UGA is not as dominant as I would like for us to be. We certainly have a defense that can get there, but the question mark is going to be, can the offense put points on the board against other defenses? So I feel like if Georgia can go out in any game guaranteed to score 35 points, we'll win. Our defense is that good. I even feel like maybe 28. But can we do that consistently? It doesn't appear that we can. So we've got to find a way to increase the offensive firepower more, and it looks like we're trying to do that. The play calling seems to have improved. We've got 3 or 4 more teams to play here. It's certainly a possibility that Georgia could continue to retool its offense and get some things figured out, kind of hit our stride late in the year here, and certainly could win a national championship. So we'll see. Auburn UGA score might be 0-0. No, sir. No, Georgia will score on Auburn because Auburn can't stop the run. So not worried about that. Yep. The offense is, I won't say the offense is the problem, but I will say that the offense is probably the weakest link right now. It's definitely Georgia definitely has an opportunity to improve in the offensive realm. And if you sat down and you really watched how we played against Florida, you can see that the offense has certainly been worked on. And I mentioned that. The offense that we saw was completely different than the offense that we saw to the past 2, 3, 4 weeks. It just was. There were passes to the tight end. There were times when they would roll 6 linemen out there, put a running back in the backfield, and then pass the ball. Now, if you think about it from a coaching standpoint, that's incredible, because whenever you know that Georgia is this amazing run team, when they roll 6 guys out on the field, 99% of the time, 99% of the time we're going to run the ball. So that's what the linebackers would step up to stop the run, and whenever we would do that, Jake Fromm would burn them with Lawrence Cager, and we'd go down the field in a hurry. From a Gator fan, congrats on the wins, because I live on the West Coast and nobody in the top 6 can allow Oregon or Utah to reach the playoff spot. I appreciate that, Marshall. I really do, buddy. You're right. Jesse Stacy said, you already know the playoffs are the Bama's invitation. Certainly possible. James Willoughby said, I think we finally evacuated on offense, not that it changed much. Do you mean executed on offense, James? RB says UGA needs to keep Blaylock out there. He seems to make 90% of his catches. Nazir Stackhouse. Yeah, I want to see James Cook get turned loose. I certainly want to see Zamir White get turned loose. I think those guys are going to be incredible. Sherman Ringo will be great additions to that as well. But if I had to pick out one play that impressed me the most, hey, Jake Fromm, what's up, buddy? Man, where's your boy Zamir White? He was in here the other week, man. Glad to have you here. Stacy, I just want you to know that the filter caught your comment, but I went ahead and approved it. Just because I agree with that. Hey, listen, Ohio State has a talent in Justin Fields, and Justin Fields is doing a phenomenal job there. The way Wisconsin was beating everybody and shutting people down, and then they went out there and just got railroaded by OSU. Made OSU look good, and it gave them a lot of momentum. Yeah, I executed. I got you, James. And it gave them a lot of momentum, and I don't really see any way that they lose that game against Penn State. I really don't. I think they'll do just fine in that game. All right, so Fromm is starting to get in the flow of things. Yes, it seems like he's starting to develop a little bit of rhythm with some of the guys. Hey, Jake, I'm probably gonna be at the game on Saturday, man. I need to get your seal of approval on some other stuff. Zamir White linked me to your channel. Well, I appreciate it, sir. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I'll come down. I'll see you on the dog walk there, and you can maybe high five me there, sir. I'd appreciate that. So I'm gonna go through the games here. Yeah, Zamir White was in here the other day. Coach O was in here. Jake Fromm's here. Wisconsin's biggest frauds. If you guys are diehard fans for football, believe it or not, this is a weird week for college football, because we have a Tuesday night game which has already been played. Tonight we've got the Miami of Ohio and Ohio game, not Ohio State. Then Thursday, you've got Louisiana, Coastal Carolina, and Temple versus South Florida. Then on Friday, UCF versus Tulsa. And then at 10:30 p.m., Ugh, can't stay up and watch these games. Washington and Oregon State. Do me a favor there, Jake. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, man, and share me in the locker room there, man. I'd appreciate it. Don't share it to Kirby because sometimes I talk bad about him. Ohio State is a noon game against Maryland Terrapins. I will tell you guys, listen, it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if Maryland puts up a good fight in this game. Listen, Maryland has an offense. Now, I know they've lost 4 straight. But they did score 79 points in the season opener. And then they scored 63 points against the number 21 ranked Syracuse. They did, however, lose to Penn State 59-0. Oh, man. What a roller coaster ride they have been, man. So they lost to, here's what they've got. They're 3-6 on the season. They won their season opener. Then they played Syracuse. They beat them. They lost to Temple by a field goal. They lost to PSU by 59 points. They beat Rutgers 48-7, and then they've lost 4 straight. So they haven't scored over 28 points in any of those games, and the opponent scored at least 34 points over them. Now, after they get through beating OSU, they've got to get over the monsters of Nebraska. So they got to beat OSU, Nebraska, and MSU, and then that will make them bowl eligible. So Maryland Terrapins, you heard it here first. Watch out for those guys. Oh, Maryland. Hold on. So when Maryland finally gets to play Nebraska, it's dumpster fire meets train wreck. Boom. It's good Lord. Oh, man. So you've got the Florida playing Vanderbilt at noon. The Penn State-Minnesota game is probably going to be the best game that's on at lunch. Let's see. Big Dog, who are the next power schools to fire their head coaches? That's a good question. Well, let's go through the teams I know the most about. Jake Fromm says hello. You guys make sure you tell Jake hello now. His time is very valuable. He spends it on YouTube with me, so better thank that guy. So, James thinks he's a real Cajun man. The trolls in this channel are incredible, man. I love you guys. Probably the only noon game worth watching is going to be the Florida Vanderbilt game. I think Florida is going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. Vanderbilt is the little kid of the SEC East. I think Florida is going to be out for vengeance. I think Dan Mullen is going to be out to make a point. Is that for real, Jake Fromm? I don't know. Ask him. You have to ask him. I don't know. I don't have a way to check credentials in here, but if the man says he's Jake Fromm, I got no reason to doubt him. Melissa May says, "Roll Tide." This is Jermaine. What's going on, Jermaine? What's up, James Lynn? So, what you've got, you really don't have any good teams playing, at least that I can see, until you get to 3:30, and everybody and their brother is going to be watching the LSU Alabama game. Texas game against Kansas State. Now, here's something that just struck me as funny. When was the last time that Texas played Kansas State and was not ranked as high? You're not trolling. I'm a Dog fan. First of all, not everybody in here is trolling me, so don't take it that way. But there are some people in here that's in here just trolling me and everybody else, and they're having a good time. I don't mind. They're not being rude or anything. They're just razzing everybody, so to speak. And then when was the last time Virginia Tech was not ranked and Wake Forest was? I don't know that that's ever happened in the history of college football, man. I mean, Kansas State ranked above Texas and Wake Forest ranked above Virginia Tech. Oh, man. Arkansas head coach will probably be fired. That's a possibility. I personally think that if Dan Mullen – what's going on, Jermaine? I've been doing pretty good, man. I hadn't seen you in the channel in a while, man. I don't know where you've been. I know you used to be in here all the time, man. Or maybe you are and I just missed you. I'm sorry. But I will tell you that I think the Miami versus Louisville game will be an interesting game just because. Nah, I ain't gonna lie. There ain't nothing on at 3:30 to watch except Alabama and LSU. That's the only thing to watch, man. It's really Jake Fromm 100%. I synced him. I'm out of here. Be looking for you, big dog. Dog walk 4:45. I will be there, sir. I will be there. All right, man. So then you've got at 4 o'clock. You've got number 13 Wisconsin and number 18 Iowa. Iowa's playing at Wisconsin. That could be a pretty good game. Those Iowa kids play with a lot of heart, so it's really interesting to see them play. Pretty much only Georgia fans and Florida fans are going to be interested in watching Georgia versus Missouri. It should be a drubbing. Tide fan for life, but I like the Dogs in LSU, not Auburn. Yeah, I don't like Auburn either. Now everybody wants to be Fromm's friend. Well, he's my friend, so you be friends with me, and then you can say you're friends with Jake Fromm from a guy you know who knew a guy who got a guy. Yeah, Willie Taggart already got fired. Willie Taggart should have been fired way sooner, though. He's pretty terrible. Welcome back, Carson. Jake Fromm needs to turn you loose. Yeah. Notre Dame versus Duke. Notre Dame should demolish Duke. That game comes on at 7:30. Oklahoma is playing Iowa State. They'll kill them. I mean, and that's pretty much it for the games. I mean, so now here's one of the things that I always like to talk about. I always like to talk about the ticket prices to games, right? Because to me, it's always interesting. So the Minnesota versus Penn State game, which is the number 14 versus number 17 at Minnesota. Who will FSU hire? They might hire Lane Kiffin or Stoops. They may even try to go after Meyer. Who knows? I think Meyer would probably work there pretty well. He's got contacts still in Florida from his years at Florida. I wouldn't be surprised if they picked him up. I would not be surprised at all. But anyway, one of the things that I like to point out is the ticket prices. I always find it really interesting. So for me, if you look at the pretty much other teams, the other tickets in here are pretty reasonable. The tickets for the Penn State Minnesota game start at $54. When those are two almost top 15 ranked teams. Ohio State playing Maryland, which they're playing at Ohio State. The cheapest ticket you can get is $68. I appreciate it, Ron. Thank you, sir. Tennessee wins the East. What? In what, basketball? Probably. No, wait. They haven't won one of those forever either. In most of these games, you can get ticket prices to college football games for $15 to $34, $44. Reasonable. I mean, if you want to go, I kid you not, this is a real price listed on ESPN. You can get a ticket for the Texas game. Kansas State playing Texas at Texas. You can get a ticket for $2. I'm not joking. It's on StubHub. You can go look it up. You can get a ticket for as low as $2. The Louisville versus Miami game is $9. Illinois at Michigan State, $6. New Mexico. Now think about it. This is how bad this is. The ticket for the Texas game is $2. New Mexico State at Ole Miss is only $3. So your ticket prices for Texas is less. Oh, I'll get to it. Hold on, Jesse. I'll get to it. It's less than Texas game. I mean, less than the UL Monroe at Georgia State game. It's less than the Liberty at BYU game. It's less than San Jose State at Hawaii. Those games are $3. Texas is $2. Hey, let me go and get in for both dollars. I got both dollars right here. Oh, let me double that price tag, and I might be able to stand on the field for $30. You can call the next 4 plays. Man, that's terrible. Then you jump over to real football, right? LSU at Alabama. At cheap games means all the fun you can have. And by the way, if you line some of these up, you can actually go to some of the noon games, and you can make it to an evening game. It's drivable. You can drive the distance and make it. So you can see 2 games in the same day for $5. Oh man. So the cheapest tickets that I can find on Vivid Seats is $279. Listen, this is in U4AA. This seat is so high, it comes complete with an oxygen mask and an emergency blanket because it's cold up there. Oh, man. Like, you're so far out of the stadium that you're so high in that stadium, you can see Stone Mountain over in Georgia. And they still charge you $279 for them tickets, man. Good Lord. Now, let's say that you want to get down here on the home side. Let's just say it's decent tickets. Home side, section F, and we'll do about row 40. Because row 40 is just high enough off the field. If you've been to many football games, row 40 is just high enough off of the field that you can actually kind of see the other side of the field pretty good, and you get a real good feel for the game. $2 as much as a candy bar. I've paid more for a 20. I've paid more for a 20-ounce Coke before. $619, man. $619. Hey, and by the way, if you want to sit in section F, row 5, right? This is about the 40-yard line, but you're 5 rows up. I mean, you really kind of close to the field. $903. 900. If you want to now think about this, that's row 5, section F. If you step down 3 rows, just 3, the ticket cost there is $1,334. Oof. My goodness. Whew. Oh man. I mean, and that's on the expensive side. $1,334, and there's many of them at that price range too. That is what they call intense. I can't imagine spending that kind of money. The real question is, who does Big Dog want to win? Who do I want to win? For selfish reasons, I want Bama to win because I want to play Bama again and I want to beat Bama. Now don't start with that "we want Bama" stuff, because that's not what I'm saying. I don't want Bama for the reason that most people say we want Bama. No, I don't want Bama for that reason. I want Bama because I want to play them and beat them. Not necessarily because our team's better and we think we can beat Alabama. That's not. I want to play them and beat them because I want to finally be able to look across that state line and go, we beat y'all. That's why I want to play Bama. We've played them so close the last 2 times. I think it's time. I think we could beat them. We should have beat South Carolina and Texas. A lot of teams when they get into these bowl games, they don't play worth a crap anymore. They just don't. Man, I haven't done you guys a scene change in a hot minute. I better get on that. So what you'll see is that UGA has an incredible defense, and defense wins championships. So we're going to find out. Imagine riding home after spending $1,300 on a ticket and losing. Ooh. Drinking this sweet tea. 2012 was close too. Yeah, well, 04 was close too. But 2 years after Saban leaves, they will pay $100. 2 years. Hey, what's on? Uncle Lou done slipped in here, man. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel, Uncle Lou. Uncle Lou is one of my favorite YouTubers, guys. Two years after Saban leaves, they'll pay $1,400 to sit on row 4. I won't, but I can't. So we'll see what happens. But man, yeah, that's per seat, Colby. It absolutely is. Kirby and the Dogs will beat Bama. Hey, Lou, don't you have a live show tonight, too? I try to get mine out of the way. Saban Laban. Good night. There's so many bandwagon fans than real fans. I will tell you that no matter what state I've been in, and I've been all over the U.S., it doesn't matter which mall you go to. There's Alabama gear in there every single time. It was that way in Hawaii. It was that way in Nebraska. They will pay you to sit there. Oh, man. All right, Carson, I'll catch you later, buddy. So let me do this. Hang on a second here. Tuesday night and Thursday night. That's right. That's right. Man, Uncle Lou, you've been working your tail off, dude. I sent you an email earlier. I don't know if you got it, though. I know you're a very busy and important person and stuff. Trying to drink my tea without pouring it into my mic. So, Melissa May says, good morning, Uncle Lou. But, at the end of the day, talk about the Alabama LSU. I just feel like Alabama can hold them under 30 points. I don't know if LSU can hold Alabama under 30 points. I think it's been tried and true and proven that Saban is a mastermind when it comes to working out that defense. So I think it's likely that it'll come down to a one score. It might come down to a turnover, but I honestly think that it's going to be Alabama's going to be somewhere around 35, LSU around 28, maybe even 31, but we'll see it. The Dan Mullen interview. So one of the things that I want to do, I'll talk to you about it later, Lou. Brett and Lou are my faves. Love the channel. Big Dog, keep it up. I appreciate it. I've been working more and more on the channel. I want to get it so that it's super nice for you guys. I want you guys to get on here and enjoy yourselves. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm learning as I go here, and it's there is no. I don't care how many YouTube videos you do. There is no like easy way to figure this stuff out. Like I've watched all the tutorials on how to use the software. Hey, there's Lawrence Cager, man. Jake Fromm must have sent you over here, man. We had Zamir White in here earlier. Squidtard, BVD. I like BVD, man. That guy is absolutely raw and unadulterated. Radiant Noah, if you haven't seen Volunteer Roadshow, go check that guy out, man. He gets a ton of Tennessee players and previous players, guys that have went on to become huge and on in their career. I mean, the guy just doesn't. If you want to see all kind of players, he's there, man. Oh, you guys done messed up now. You don't let me turn Uncle Lou into a moderator. Y'all watch yourselves around him. So looking at the power rankings, I don't really see much below the 15 mark that things are going to shift around much. I mean, if Minnesota was to do the impossible or the incredible and knock off Penn State, I think Penn State would probably fall to maybe 7. I think Minnesota might jump to 11, but I think it would stay there too. I mean, I think it would stay around that. I think that Clemson might move up, depending on how Clemson plays the rest of the season. If they drop the ball anywhere, they're completely out. They're completely out. If you want to laugh / feel bad for a man, look at Lance from Jasper. Man, I meant to go look his video up after the loss, but I haven't done that yet. I have not done that yet. I need to do that. I'm going to do that after we get off. We're going to go here for about 10 more minutes. So you guys, tell me who you think or what you think the score is going to be for the Missouri game, and then I'll give you guys my prediction for the Missouri game. I don't even know that I'm going to make a hate video for LSU. I mean, for LSU. If we play LSU, I'll make one for that. But LSU is one of the few teams that actually has a winning record against UGA. It's crazy. I like the fact that no one is talking about Georgia right now. It gives us an advantage, I think. I agree with that. I think that whenever you're number one, everybody's talking about you. You're on the hype train. But I think that when you're just barely on the outside looking in, it makes your team really, really hungry, makes them want to prove themselves, and I think you play with a chip on your shoulder. I just do. It's just the way I feel. 35-10 UGA. Keith come right back. He said 34-10 UGA. 31-9 Dogs on top. 28-10. I can see all of those. Missouri doesn't need a hate week. They are awful. It's like making one for App State, man, even though App State's like, not bad right now. James wants me to make a video. I might. I don't know. Just when I make videos like that, if I don't really feel it, it's hard to get into the mode to make it. Make a hate video the best part of my Saturday besides when my Dogs win. Mizzou is a good team. Mizzou is a good team, Lawrence. I appreciate you jumping in here, man. 42-3. Lawrence, Mr. Cager, what do you think? By the way, congratulations on like the best game any Georgia receiver has had in the past probably 7 or 8 years. What do you think there, Mr. Cager? And by the way, if you guys haven't seen that catch that Brian Harrion made, a running back made for University of Georgia, you need to go check that out because that was absolutely one of the most incredible catches I've seen in college football in recent history. A one-handed, a diving parallel to the ground, one-handed tap catch to yourself where you secured it with both arms. Insane. What's up, Braden? 28-3. Ooh. I'm good with that. I think my personal projection is probably going to be somewhere around, I'm going to say 35-10. I think that 35-10 is probably accurate. Doggy Jones says, okay, big dog, nice stream. Time to put these Rugrats down. Deuces. Have a good night. Enjoy them kids while you can, sir. Russell Harrison says, you like my breakfast show. Yeah, I like cooking breakfast on the weekends, especially on Sunday mornings. And I got to get my garage cleaned up. It looks like a bomb went off in there. We're still dragging out Christmas stuff, which you guys will get to see the house all decorated for Christmas. My wife loves to do that. Georgia defense going to go full-blown stone cold on Kelly Bryant. I think Kelly Bryant has the arm talent to absolutely abuse Georgia, but I think Georgia's defense is going to create an environment where he's going to be running for his life. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to throw the ball. And because of that, it's going to take most of their game away. Not going to be able to run that ball against that Georgia defensive line. Nobody's been able to run the ball against Georgia. No rushing touchdowns. Here we are in Week 11, haven't allowed a single rushing touchdown all year. And again, after watching the video, it doesn't look like that receiver caught that ball. Mizzou is dangerous. Coach Smart says no Gamecock repeat. I hope not. We shot ourselves in both feet that game. It's BLST says, what's up, big dog? What's going on, my man? So looking at the way the matchups are, I think Georgia is going to continue to try to retool its offense and try to get down the field. We bought $9 nosebleeds for the Kentucky game and walked down to row 4 and stayed there for the whole game. We're going to do the same for the Missouri, hopefully. That would be nice. We'll take it, but I bet you that stadium is going to be pretty full because it is a night game. So I would say you could probably expect that stadium to be full. Which team do you think will score the first rushing touchdown on Georgia? The New England Patriots. No, I would probably say, have a good night, James. I think we can make the playoffs. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think LSU would do it, but I think Bama could. I don't think anyone will score a rushing touchdown to the SEC championship. Yep, I agree with that. David Green is on. What's up, David? Get in here, sir. Oh, so far, I think probably the most renowned Georgia player I've met to date and had the opportunity to shake his hand would be Aaron Murray. I've got some autograph stuff from him, actually. Nope, I don't have it down here. But my gray hat is actually signed by him. I think my wife's I've got a signed helmet by him as well. I really want to meet Herschel Walker, man, but that guy's like trying to catch a ghost, man. He's just so hard to figure out where that guy's going to be at. Just Stacy says, all jokes aside, good luck to everybody this weekend. Dogs win and roll tide. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night, Jesse. We're going to go here for about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it a night. Hour and a half is a pretty good clip for me. So let's see here. Still kind of learning my way around the old check that out. In case you don't see enough of me, I haven't met him. I really want to meet him too. I want to meet I take that back. I did meet a guy by the name of Ray Rissmiller. Met this guy in a Waffle House on a Saturday morning. I took my wife out to breakfast. This guy he actually played for Coach Dooley back in 1964. Crazy. I want to meet Chubb and Jordan Jenkins. I'd like to meet Nick Chubb. I'd like to meet Sony Michel. I'd like to meet DeAndre Swift. I'd really like to meet Hot Rod before he goes pro, because that guy's going to be an NFL kicker for 20 years. The guy's incredible. See you later, Dwayne. Oh, Dwayne's not leaving yet. Oof. Whew. And by the way, for you guys that see the 102 to 44, that's the total score UGA has played against. That's the total points against Ford in the last 3 years. So yeah. Murray's my favorite dog of all time. If Fromm wins the national championship, then it will be him. My favorite dog of all time would be Herschel. I'd like to meet Pollock. I'd like to meet AJ. I'd like to meet Matt Stafford. Obviously, the running backs. I'd love to meet all those guys. But I'd like to meet D-Rob, Cole. I'd like to meet all those guys. But, of course, I'd like to meet Kirby Smart. I don't know any dog fan who wouldn't. You want Tua to sign your number 3 Crimson helmet. Uh-oh. Watch out, Dwayne. Some of that Alabama education jumping out on you. Just giving you some grief, my man. All right, guys. Well, it's been about an hour and a half here. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything you guys are doing for me. The channel is coming along at an amazing clip. You guys are just awesome to be around and to enjoy. So thank you guys so much for being here. And with that, we're going to give you guys a little bit of the rollout music. You guys have a great night. God bless. Go Dogs.
Monday.com is a platform to manage your entire marketing team. From content creation and strategic planning to client requests and organizing assets, Monday.com